Okay, Assalamu alaikum students. How are you all? Please follow the instructions. Don't raise your hand during lecture. Ask a question at the end. Keep your chemistry book with you. Today we are going to start the new topics of our chapter 1, that is related to history and the scientific method. History is a very important. Without history we cannot work, and the study of history is important because it allows one make to sense of a current world. So it's mean without history we cannot do, we are nothing and we cannot do further. So in chemistry the history is divided into three main periods: the Greek period, the Muslim period, and the modern period. In a Greek period, we having three scientists: Plato, Aristotle, and the Democritus. They contributed in the early development of chemistry, and they also introduced the concept of element, atoms, and chemical reactions. In that era, they believed that all matter derived from the all matter derived from the uh, air, earth, fire, and water. And these elements have the properties hot, dry, cold, and the wet. So the early period, that is the Greek period, they believe that all the things are originated from the earth, air, fire, and the water, and they having the property of hot, cold, dry, and wet. But they contributed a lot in early developments, give the concept of element, atom, and the chemical reactions. After the Greek period, we having the Muslim period. Muslim period started from the 600 to 1600 AD in the history of alchemistry, and that time chemists are known as a alchemist. Muslim contributed a lot, and uh, they work hard. But in our syllabus, we will discuss only four scientists: Jabir ibn Hayyan, Al-Razi, Al-Biruni, and Ibn Sina. Now first, Jabir ibn Hayyan. Jabir ibn Hayyan is generally known as a father of alchemy, meaning father of alchemy. In early time, the chemistry is called alchemy, that he was known as a father of alchemy. And he also work on the preparation of a nitric acid, HCl, and the white lead. Jabir ibn Hayyan also introduced methods for the extraction of metals and their ore. He described how to get the metal from the ore, and also he described how to dyeing a cloth, to give the different colors to cloth. These all are related to the work of Jabir ibn Hayyan. He was a father of alchem. Then Al-Razi. Now, second most important scientist in the Muslim period, that is Al-Razi. He, he was a physician, alchemist, and a philosopher. He was a great surgeon at his time. He used opium as a anesthesia. He was the first to introduce anesthesia for the anesthesia for the operation. So he was the first who used to him as an anesthesia. He was a great surgeon. So Razi was a great scientist of that time, and and uh, he, he have given the he divided the substances into a living and non-living origins. Divided substance into a living and non-living origins. Mean he gives the concept that about the substance are originated from two things or two substances, that is a living and non-living. He also described the preparation of ethyl alcohol by the fermentation process. So it means Al-Razi give the concept how we can prepare the alcohol by a fermentation process. Next scientist we having the Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina, then so Al-Biruni. First we have to connect with the Al-Biruni contributed. Now, Moshe for Al-Biruni. First, we have to discuss Al-Biruni. Contributed in a lot in the physics, metaphysics, mathematics, geography, and history. Besides this, we also worked on a chemistry. We worked in a determine the densities of a different substance. It was a great work of Alberoni. On the basis of density, different densities of different element, we can differentiate between the different. So it was a basic idea was given by the Alberoni. And now next is Ibn Sina was a very famous in a medicine. So he contributed in a medicines, medical chemistry, philosophy, mathematics, and astronomy. So Ibn Sina was very great scientist because of he was a famous in the sense of he worked in a medicines. This is all about the Muslim period. We have discussed Jabir ibn Hayyan, Al-Razi, Al-Biruni, and Ibn Sina. We have covered Greek period and the Muslim period. Then we are having the modern period. Now, third period, that is a modern period. In modern period, there is a number of scientists work a lot. They are very important, like the Muslim period and the Greek period. The first one is Robert Boyle. Robert Boyle was known as the father of modern chemistry. So think about, I have discussed about Jabir ibn Hayyan was considered a father of early chemistry. He was the father of early chemistry. But now, father of modern chemistry is a Robert Boyle. So this is very important point. You must remember the Robert Boyle is a father of modern chemistry. He was first to put forward the idea that chemistry should be regarded as a systematic investigation of a nature with the sole aim promoting knowledge. As a result, a lot of discoveries are made during the later year. So he was first to put the forward idea. Chemistry or other all aspect of a science should be a systematic. If the anything in a systematic manner or we follow one by one, we work more clearly as compared to without any unsystematic or without any system. So next scientist is a J. Black. J. Black made a study about the carbon dioxide. Then after the J. Black, we having another important scientist, J. Presley. He was from 1733 to 1804. He discovered oxygen, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen fluoride. This is discoveries. This is discoveries of a J. Presley, discovery of the oxygen, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen fluoride. Then after this, we having the Shelley. Shelley discovered chlorine. Shelley discovered the chlorine. He discovered chlorine is another element which is very important for the science. After the Shelley, we having the Cavendish. Cavendish discovered the hydrogen. He discovered about the hydrogen, all the information related to hydrogen discovered early in the Cavendish. After the Cavendish, we having the Lavoisier. He discovered that oxygen constituted about 1/5 of the air. So he tells about the ratio of oxygen in the air. After the Lavoisier, we having a John Dalton. John Dalton, I give the concept of a atomic theory of a matter or a concept of a atomic weight. So the work of a John Dalton is very great that I give the concept about the atomic theory of a matter and the concept of atomic weight. This is all related to a general. Then we having the Galileo's, Avogadro's, Dulong, and Pettit. They all work together. They led the determination of our relative atomic and the molecular masses of many substances. So this work is related to the Galileo, Avogadro's, Dulong, and Pettit. They lead to determination of atomic and molecular masses of many substances. After this, we having another important one that is a J.J. Berzelius. He gives the idea about the symbol, formula, and chemical equation. The proper idea of a symbol, formula, and chemical equation were given by J. Berzelius. Now, Mendeleev. Mendeleev has also had a great work, discovered the periodic arrangement of elements. So, Mendeleev gave the proper periodic arrangement of element, which was earlier considered one of the best one. Then we having next sciences, we having Arrhenius and Faraday. They work together. They work on a ionic theory and the law of electrolysis. Law of electrolysis we will discuss in future in detail. They are very important for our syllabus as well as very important for the industry. Electrolysis is a very important process. Then J.J. Thomson, H. Becquerel, M. Curie, Neil Bohr, and E. Rutherford. They all work together. They are responsible for discovering of a structure of atoms, radioactivity, thereby opening the door of a present nuclear age. Mean today is a nuclear age, nuclear period, nuclear era. This whole discoveries of a nuclear era is basic work of J.J. Thomson, H. Becquerel, M. Curie, Neil Bohr, and E. Rutherford. They all work on the structure of atom, radioactivity by the opening door of a present era. Okay. Now, this is all about the history. We have discussed history in a three periods: Greek period, Muslim period, and the modern period. This is all about. Then, after discovered, discussing the history. Now we are having the next topic, scientific approach in a chemistry, or else we can say scientific methods in a chemistry. Before this, we must know what is a scientific method. A method which is used in a systematic study of a science as well as in a chemistry to determine the fact making, hypothesis, prediction, hypothesis, theories, scientific law. This is known as a scientific method. Scientific method is a method which is in a systematic in which we study science or chemistry. So systematic study is very important in every field of a science, like a chemistry, biophysics, all they are need the systematic study. Before going the details, what method we will follow in a scientific method and scientific approach in chemistry, we must know one term, phenomenon. This is a phenomenon is a Greek word which means fact or the situation or known to exist, happen. Phenomenon is a singular, it's plural as a phenomena. It's a Greek word, fact or the situation. Phenomenon is a fact or the situation. Now, phenomenon is a fact or the situation. So I will use this word. So you must know the meaning of a phenomenon.
Miss आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Number one, method is a observation. It is a basic tool. It is a basic tool to go for elaborating a phenomena. It is a basic tool, observation. It is a basic tool to go for elaborating a phenomenon. Observation means how we see different things. Different people observe a phenomena in a different way. Some observe something very critically, but some exact a very extract from a new point. Means that observation vary from person to person. Every person observe a different in a different way. It means it's vary from person to person according to own skill of elaborating. Observation is a one of the scientific approach in a chemistry. Mean if one thing is observing by a different person, they observe differently. Mean all different pupils have a different way to observe. Some observe critically, but some observe to the point, and some are ignoring. So different half of our peoples are observing in a different way. So first step is observation. Observation is done by a number of our pupils, and and they having observed in a different way, or they observe in a different angle. So it's a basic tool to go for elaborating a phenomena. Uh, Elaborating mean, here we are using term elaborating. Elaborating mean the explanation in a detail. Mean it's a basic tool to go for elaborating a phenomenon. It's a tool to explain the phenomena in a detail. See, so observation is a basic tool, and once again I'm repeating, it's a basic tool to go for elaborating a phenomenon. It's mean we are explaining in a detail. Okay? So I have already mentioned you different people have a different observations. So after the observation, if different people observe a different and they're having a different. Now, hypothesis. Next, if you are after the observation, a number of observation will collected. Now, next thing is a hypothesis. When a phenomenon when a phenomenon is observed, a scientific ponders over it and carries out a relevant experiment. I, I have already told you phenomenon is a fact or the situation that will happen. Okay? If phenomenon is observed, if you have observed something, a scientific ponder over it carries its mean. They are considering scientists considering conscious mean. They consider something carefully and carries out a relevant experiment. First step is a observation. You just observe. Different people have a different observation. They observe. After the observation, scientists do the different experiments. Mean they have observed something. Now it's a time to do the practical. So after performing the experiments, scientists get the different data and arrive at a possible explanation for the nature of a phenomenon. Mean if you are observing something after doing the experiment, scientists are able to collect the data, okay, and arrives at the certain explanation. This explanation will is still on a trial. Idea is called hypothesis. So mean hypothesis is a trial idea. No, it's not a still confirmed. It's a comparatively reliable than the observation, but still it's a trial idea. It may or may not undergo a change as a result of further investigation and accumulation of a more knowledge or fact. So we can say the hypothesis is a intelligent guess or a form of a maybe in a form of a statement. So after the observation, the next step is a hypothesis. It's an intelligent guess, or it's a trial idea. It may or may not be changed. If you have done the observation, the hypothesis means you have done the relevant experiment. Now you will go to a next step, that is a theory. When the hypothesis is supported by a large amount of different types of observations and experiment. Now it becomes a theory. It's mean when hypothesis is done, the scientist conveys his hypothesis to other co-workers of the same field for the discussion or for the. If you have experimented something, now you will allow to other scientists to work on and prove it. Either we have done correctly or not. If your hypothesis is tested again and again, it is fit and its facts and figures are the correct. Now your hypothesis become a theory. Scientifically acceptable idea or the principle to explain the phenomenon. Good theory predicts a few facts and unreveals new relationship between naturally occurring phenomena. It's been step one, you have done observation. You have different people observe a different thing according to their self. After the observation, It's an intelligent guess or a trial idea. You have done a different experiment on your observation. If we found that we forward our hypothesis to the next category of workers or the scientists to test either our hypothesis is correct or not correct. Either we have observed correct or not correct. We have done a lot of experiments. You have to do a confirmation when a group of a work supported your hypothesis. Now it become a theory. Mean your hypothesis was correct. It become a theory. Then, if theory is acceptable, next step is a scientific law. A theory which is tested again and again and found to fit the facts and form which valid prediction may be made. If your theory tested again and again, now it was correct. Now it become a principle or the law. So these are the four steps: observation, hypothesis, theory, and the scientific law. In a chemistry, how can these are the steps? How can we make a scientific law? First, we observe. I have told you, different people observe differently because of their different people have a different skills. After the observation, go to the hypothesis. It is our observation is tested with the relevant experiments. If hypothesis is then move toward, if this hypothesis tested again and again, if it become correct, it become a theory. Then after the theory, if this theory again tested again and again, if it fits and the correct, it become a scientific law or the principle. Now, in biology, you also have discovered the scientific method, the scientific way. The, in bio, you have learned about them. Now I'm comparing with the biological method: observation, hypothesis, deduction, experiment, result, and then a theory. So in biology, we are doing the 6 steps, but in chemistry, we are doing 4 steps, but both are interlinked, both are the related. Okay? Now, we can explain scientific method by taking the example. If I'm interested in a planting, for planting, I need seed, soil, and the fertilizers and water and other things are also necessary. But basic thing, if I am interested in a planting, I need seed, soil, and fertilizer. But the thing comes in our mind: different variety of fertilizers or different types of fertilizers are present in are in a market. But which type of fertilizer works best? First, we observe different types of fertilizers in a market. For example, we are giving the name A, B, and C. Now, this is a time after the observation. I have observed different types of fertilizer. Then, now come to the hypothesis. I will take all 3 samples of fertilizers and I will apply in a 3 pots of a plant. In 3 pots of a plant, A, B, C, we have given one plant, pot A, in which we add the fertilizer A, and the pot B, we are adding the fertilizer B. In pot C, we will add the fertilizer C. After some days, we are adding the fertilizers in the all 3 pots. The plants will start growing. My prediction was that the fertilizer A will give the best result. After the experimenting, I observed that my prediction was correct. A fertilizer is giving the more growth as compared to B and C. So my experiment was tested and I practically performed. Now, hypothesis the plant grew. My hypothesis was plant grew with the fertilizer A will grow the fastest. By the help of experiment, I proved I was correct. A fertilizer was a correct. So, in this manner, scientists work in a 4 steps: observation, hypothesis, theory, and scientific law. So in first step, observe, then uh, in the first step, observation, hypothesis, and theory and scientific law. These are the stepwise process by which we can reach into a proper answer of any query that comes in our mind. We have done observation, hypothesis mean we are doing the experiment that tested again and again. If it is supported by a large number of pupils or the who had experimented, then it become a theory. If the theory is tested again and again, it's become correct. Now it become a scientific law. But all the observation doesn't become a laws and the principles. So hypothesis and theories was passes successfully to become a scientific law. Some may sound by convincing but supported by mathematical calculation, but very difficult to prove experimentally. Uh, in either chemistry or physics, most of the experiments can prove mathematically but cannot prove experimentally. So they are still having the question mark until they are proved with the help of a experiment. So it is very important that can be proved with help of experiment in a chemistry. Now we have finished the scientific approach in chemistry and the history of chemistry. Now your home task. Please take a screenshot of the home task. Here to have two questions. Write down the contribution of a modern period scientist in the field of chemistry. Okay. Uh, and next question, complete book exercise on page on 9 and a 10. Please fill your exercise on page number 9. Fill in the blanks. Please fill it in your book, and questions on the page number 10 you have to done in your fair copies. Please, with the proper heading you will done in your copy. So please be careful about your work. It should be clean with and do with the proper headings. And so please do attempt all the questions are in page 10. If you find any difficulty in you can ask about the home task. So please, if you have a book with you, you can see 6 questions are on your page number 10. So please, you must do all question in your copy. Okay. Now, please, after this completion of a Latin play, you can ask the question and raise your hand, please. Please unmute yourself and ask a question, please, Aisha. Hello, are you listening me?
Yes, miss.
Yes. Do you want
Can
to?
I ask a question?
Yes, Peter. You can ask.
Miss, can you tell me about the answer of first question of home task?
Home task. Uh, write down the contribution of a modern period.
Yes, miss.
Okay.
I can't find the answer in book.
Okay. You
Can you
can't
please
find.
tell me?
Write down the on page number 3. Page number 3, the modern period, and I have already
Yes.
shared the slide. Have you taken the screenshot?
Yes, miss.
Please, you can do in the form of a table.
Okay, miss.
In a table, you will write in one column you will write the name of a scientist. In a second, you will write the contribution. It's easy for learning. Okay. Please, Rohan, unmute yourself and ask a question. Please. Hello. Are you listening me?
Miss, can I ask a question?
Salam
Yes, yes, yes. You can ask a question, Mohan. Hello, are you listening me? Rohan?
Yes.
alaikum. Miss.
Yes, you are. You can ask.
Hello, Miss. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
मिस हम मॉडर्न पीरियड का पूछ रहे थे
Hmm.
कि इसमें किस तरह से ये करना है.
Okay. I have shared the slide of a modern period. I have already told you, make a table of a two column. One column is the name of a scientist and second column related to a contribution of a scientist. I have shared the slide. Have you taken the screenshot? Hello? Alishba, unmute yourself. Alishba, are you listening me? Alishba, unmute yourself. Alishba? Okay, Amara, unmute yourself. Amara, please. Ariba?
So only question.
Alishba, unmute yourself and then ask a question.
Miss, I can't understand you. Can you repeat hypothesis?
Okay. Okay, hypothesis. Okay. I will repeat hypothesis. Hypothesis is an intelligent guess. It is a trial idea. Mean if you observe something, now it's time to do a relevant experiment about it. Either your observation is correct or not correct. This is your house. In language, we can say when a phenomena is observed, when you observe something, then scientific ponder over it to carry out a relevant. I mean, if you observe something, now it's time to check either other observation is correct or not correct. Yes.
Okay, Miss.
Okay. First screen. First one. Please, students, for answering the question of exercise or either of a home task, you can follow this table. Take a picture or a screenshot of this slide, please. This is very important for you. Please follow worksheet number 1. This is the answer of a home task. Question number 1 is here the modern period. And you can also take this worksheet for the answer of a question number 1 of a page 10. This is the chart for the table you can follow for the question number 1. Okay. Now it's time to summarize the topic. Today's our topic is the history of a chemistry. History very important, and for history we having 3 periods in the chemistry: the Greek period, the Muslim period, and the modern period. In the Greek period, we having 3 scientists: Aristotle, Democritus, and Pluto. So they contributed in the early development of a chemistry, but they work a lot. And earlier they believe the 4 elements are basic: they fire, earth, water, and air. Then Muslim period, very important period, but we having only 4 Muslims: Jabir bin Hayyan, Al Razi, Al Biruni, and Ibn Sina. The early development of a chemistry or the basics of all acids, and introduction of anesthesia, origin of a living organism and non-living organisms, and different densities of element in medicine. They all are all the contribution of the Muslim period. So Muslim done a great work Or we can summarize, these Muslim chemists were interested more finding a way of a prolonged life and convert baser metal like lead, copper, and gold. So all the basic elements were come in front in the period of a Muslim history. So in the 16th century, Muslim worked in chemical laboratories. They spring up an important reagent like a sulfuric acid, nitric acid, hydrochloric acid, silver nitrate, etc. are discovered. So these are the one of the important liquids or the chemicals in the today's history. So, so this is all about the history, okay, and now to all about the lecture, okay, and please, uh, okay, this is all about the lecture.